0, 1. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Reinvention Room. I'm Mel, and I gotta tell you something that's been sitting on my chest all week. People, they're not gonna believe you until they can see it. Have you noticed that? They want proof first, they want receipts. They want the business already making money before they'll call you an entrepreneur. They want the weight already gone before they'll say, wow, you're really committed. They want the thousands of downloads before they'll take your podcast seriously. Everybody wants the evidence up front. And here's the thing nobody tells you. That's never how it actually works. Not once, not for anybody. In the beginning, all you have is belief. That's it. That's the whole starter kit. And belief is invisible. Nobody else is going to see it. Nobody can hold it in their hands and go, yep, that's real. Wow, it's heavy. They just have to watch you and wait. So today, I want to sit with one phrase, just one. Because honestly, some days, it's the only sentence that gets me through. Time will tell. Let's get into it. So, the doubt that comes with every decision, right? Here's what happens the second you decide to change your life. People show up with opinions. You didn't even ask for them, but here they come. Oh, that's not going to work. You tried that before, remember? I'll believe it when I see it. You've heard some versions of these, right? Maybe a friend, maybe a family member. And if I'm being honest with you, maybe the loudest version of that voice has come from inside your own head. Because that's usually where it hurts the most. But I can tell you something freeing. You don't owe anybody your results on their timeline. Not a single person. You don't owe them an explanation, a progress report, or a highlight reel to prove you're serious. Think about it. Think about it in nature for a second. A seed doesn't turn into a tree overnight. It sits in the dark, in the dirt, looking like absolutely nothing is happening. A baby doesn't walk on the day that they're born. They gotta wobble, right? Fall, get up and try again for about 400 times before they can walk. A house isn't finished the day the foundation gets poured. It just looks like a concrete slab. Have you ever seen a house being built from the ground up? Nobody's moving in yet. Everything that's ever going to matter in your life is going to go through that same unglamorous beginning and middle part. The part where it looks like nothing. I'm not speaking from the mountain here, okay? I want to be really honest. I want to be honest with you about something that's really important to me. I'm recording this episode while I'm still building. I'm not here after I've made it, after I've made my millions, or looking down, giving you a little tidy story, letting you know, hey, this is the path to gloriousness. This is what you need to do. This is how you're going to get there. I am not on the top of the mountain telling you what it's like up here. I'm climbing right alongside you. Some episodes of this podcast get a handful of listeners, some get more, some barely get any at all. And for a long time, I used to think that that mattered. And I'm not saying it doesn't, I'm not going to lie. But I realized that the most important thing is for me to get the message out there. Everything that I question that helps me, I put it here. I'm not measuring my life by today's numbers. I'm measuring it by my consistency, by my passion, by what I'm here to do, my purpose. Did I show up? Did I do the work? Did I keep my goal and my word to myself? That's the scoreboard I go by. Not likes, not downloads, not who noticed. Even though those things are nice. Let me tell you, I know, of course, it feels wonderful. I love it. And I'm not saying that I don't want it. What I am saying is that that doesn't make me who I am, and that's not going to stop me from putting this message out there. And time will tell the rest. Nobody's clapping in the beginning. Think about anybody that you admire. Anybody. An athlete, a business owner, an artist, a friend who turned their whole life around. I promise you, there was a season where nobody was watching them. Nobody was clapping. Nobody believed. They were doing the work in a completely empty room. And here's the real difference between the people who eventually made it and the people who gave up right before they would have. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even confidence, honestly. It's not. It's that they stayed. They stayed around long enough to catch up and prove them right. They stayed around long enough to watch the tree grow. That's it. That's the secret. That's the secret everybody's looking for. Stay long enough for time to tell the truth about you. We're so addicted to instant everything, and I mean it feels so good because trust me, I come from an era where we had to wait for pictures to develop. That was like, oh my god. And I think about it now, it's like instant. It's beautiful. I love it. But can we talk about how impatient this world has made us, right? We order food and it shows up in 20 minutes. We order a package and it's on the porch tomorrow morning, sometimes even in an hour. Somebody posts a video and by tonight, it's already viral. So, of course, we start expecting our dreams to move the same, at the same speed. We want the podcast to blow up in a month. We want the body to transform in 2 weeks. We want the business profitable by the end of the quarter. And when it doesn't happen, we start thinking something's wrong with us because it didn't happen fast enough. And nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong. You're building something real. And real things don't move at a delivery app speed. Real success real success is almost boring while it's happening. It's quiet. It's showing up on a random Wednesday when nobody's watching. It's you doing it again on Thursday and the next Wednesday and the next Thursday and the next day and the next day after that. Until one day, people look up and call you an overnight success. They didn't see the years. They only saw the moment. And that's not their fault. It's not your fault. That's just that's just all they had access to. But you know the truth. You were there for all of it. And this can be true for anything. I'm not just talking about you have to be massively successful and what society thinks successful is. You define your own success. And you don't have to convince anybody. I think one of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn, and I mean genuinely had to sit with, is that I don't need to convince anyone of anything. You know, I was, I needed validation. I don't need that. I don't need that to do what I want to do. It's nice, but it's not a necessity. I don't need to argue my vision into existence. I don't need to defend why I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't need to explain myself to people who weren't there when I decided to start. Because here's what I've come to believe: words don't build dreams, actions do. You can talk about the life you want for hours and it won't move an inch. But one small action, repeated with patience, moves mountains eventually. And time reveals everything, every bit of it. You don't have to rush the reveal. So, the people who doubt you now are not done watching. Here's something that'll shift your whole perspective if you let it sink in. The people laughing at your dream today might be asking you for advice in 5 years. The people ignoring your work right now might become your biggest supporters later on. The people who doubt your discipline today might one day wish they had started when you did. Time has this wild way of rearranging everybody's opinion. People who wrote you off will watch you become undeniable, and something in them will shift. You don't need them to believe you don't need them to believe it right now. You just need to keep going until belief isn't optional anymore. What if it actually works, right? Can I ask you something? Why do we always ask, what if it doesn't work? Why is that the default question? What if you flipped it? What if it does work? What if you're 6 months away from the version of your life you kept dreaming about? What if you're 1 year away and you just can't see the finish line yet because you're still in the middle of the race? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you actually want is enough time? I think a lot of us quit right before the turn, right before the part of the story where it all starts clicking. Not because we failed, not because we got embarrassed or tired or impatient, and we walked away one chapter too early. Don't let that be you. Not this time. Because patience, it's not passive. I used to think patience meant sitting around, right? Waiting for something to happen to you, just being still and just hoping. That was my definition of patience. But that's not patience. That's just waiting. Real patience is active. Patience keeps showing up even when there's no applause. Patience keeps learning, even when it feels like you should already know it by now. Patience keeps improving 1% at a time. Patience keeps planting seeds, even when nothing is growing above the surface yet. Because underneath the ground, where you can't see it, where nobody can see it, the roots are spreading. They're getting stronger. They're preparing to hold up something bigger than what you can picture right now. That's the part of the process most of us give up on because it's invisible. But invisible doesn't mean it's not happening. Let time speak for you. I think one of the most powerful forms of confidence is a person who is willing to let time speak on their behalf. Not not their mouth, not their social media captions, not their announcements or explanations, like watch this, but their consistency. You've seen people like that, right? They just consistent until one day, wow, I've seen a lot of successes that way, especially on social media. I've seen a lot of people grow like that from nothing to something. And when I say nothing, I don't mean they're not nothing. I mean, you know, no social media following to huge success. You don't have to tell everybody who you're becoming. Just become it quietly on repeat until it's undeniable. And eventually, time will introduce that version of you to everybody who doubted. You won't have to say a word. And that's the best part. Just remember that invisible doesn't mean impossible. So if you're listening today and you feel discouraged because nothing seems to be happening in your life right now, I need you to hear me clearly. Don't confuse invisible with impossible. Some of the biggest transformations in your life are happening in the places nobody can see. Inside your habits, inside your mindset, inside the discipline you're quietly building when no one's checking on you. Those internal changes, the one nobody claps for, those are the ones that actually last. Those are the foundation everything else gets built on. So if it feels like nothing's happening, look a little closer. Something almost always is. It's not above ground yet. So don't rush your story. So here's what I want you to carry with you when you walk away from this episode today. Don't compare your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 20. That's not a fair comparison. And honestly, it's not even the same book. Don't go looking for validation from people who can't see your vision. They can't see it. Let it be. They were never going to be the ones to confirm it for you. Just keep going. Keep showing up. Keep showing up in those quiet, unglamorous middle parts. And then one day, you won't have to explain a single thing. You know why? Because time will tell. It always does. Thank you for spending this time with me here today in the Reinvention Room. If today's episode reminded you to trust the process instead of chasing proof, carry that with you this week. Let it sit with you the next time somebody wants results before they believe you. Keep showing up, keep building, keep believing, and remember, fall in love with your life, and I'll see you in the next reinvention room.
0